friend. Today I'm just coming here to talk a little bit about beta readers. Yes, beta readers. They are so important when it comes to writing a book and getting it published. So beta readers, why do we need them and how do they help? So first of all, if you don't know what a beta reader is someone who helps writers basically read their work. So it's somebody that likes to read, and they give you honest feedback, honest criticism. So usually you want it to be constructive criticism because you want it to help you make your book better, not just negative criticism, of course. So so that's kind of what it is. So basically they read the story and then they give you feedback, like what parts they liked and what parts they didn't, and where it dragged, or how characters changed from one, like continuity issues and stuff like that. So you need a beta reader because as a writer, you're stuck in your own head. Like for me, like when I'm writing, I think I've written it all, and I think that I know exactly where they are in the story, and they're walking around and doing things and talking to people, and I know exactly what they look like. But then maybe how I've written it, it's more like Claire was talking to such and such and blah 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 and blah blah blah, and it doesn't really actually mention her hair color or where in the room they are, or maybe she grabbed a book but she was still sitting down. So how does that work? So those are the type of things that your beta readers will end up catching. So it's super important to have a beta reader for that reason there alone. Continuity issues. You'll see where things need to be improved. Number 2, you'll end up seeing where your strengths are. This is really good because it's also nice to see where you're good and where you've gotten better. And you don't want this to be just like a praise fest, of course, because no one's perfect, right? So yeah, you don't want it just to be like when you were little and drew a picture and show it to a teacher or your mom and they're like, oh my gosh, that's just the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. You don't want it to be like that, right? So, so anyways, you want to make sure that when you find your beta readers that they're people that are going to be honest with you. Honest, like telling you like, oh, I really like this, or this is funny, or you're good at this. But you also want them to be able to break down a little bit and tell you, okay, this is dragging right here, and I think this is why. If you did this, maybe, so basically it kind of helps you. Also, I do like to have beta readers that are writers too. You can have beta readers that are just readers. I have some that are just readers, and I have some that are just writers as well as readers, of course. But I've found it helpful because they also see where it's like, okay, well, maybe if you did this, if you tweaked this, I think this problem would be solved. So they kind of are helping you kind of like brainstorm in a way that's going to actively help you make this story better, which is really nice. Also, you could count this as alpha reading. Like, so there's alpha readers and there's beta readers. So I'm just going to count this whole thing as alpha and beta readers. So basically for me, I have a couple rounds. So I have my alpha readers. They're the ones who read it first. The story is not as in place as it will be at the end. And then they basically read through it, and it's basically kind of like developmental editing, but it's not editing. They look at the story and they basically tell me it needs something more, this isn't working, or this is working perfectly, or they just kind of let me know how the story is going developmentally. So I've really enjoyed that. Having alpha readers is really wonderful too. But so in the alpha read is when I usually do my developmental edits. And so sometimes if I had anyone reading this, I would be super embarrassed. But like, so my alpha readers get it's pretty sloppy and pretty messy. I mean, it's not sloppy or messy, but because I've gone through a couple edits of it, but I've given it to them and then they give me feedback on it all. So that's really nice. Just to have someone helping you brainstorm development-wise for the story to make sure it's actually seeming like a story and it's actually going somewhere. Having beta readers, alpha readers, critique partners, they're all great. Having them also really helps you see where there's plot issues. And I just really love this part because sometimes, when you're reading, all of a sudden, one time, one of my beta readers was like, wait a minute, They already took the suitcase out of the pickup. So why is he taking the suitcases out again? Just like little tiny details like that, or even bigger plot issues. They are really good at finding those readers, and you want to know how to find a beta reader. Yeah, that was me like a year ago. Yeah, I was like, oh man, I need to find beta readers. How am I going to find a beta reader? Like, how am I going to find a beta reader? So here are some different places where you can look for beta readers. Okay, so I found a lot of my beta readers on Instagram. Honestly, like, it's crazy. Like, I got to be friends with some people and we're writers, and I'm like, hey, would you ever be interested in beta reading? You know, giving me feedback. Or maybe I had a friend who was like, oh my gosh, I'd love to read that when you're ready. And you're like, okay, perfect. And I just wrote their name down on the list and contacted them when I was done. Another thing is your email newsletter. If you're an author, a writer, you should have an email newsletter. And I'll do other videos about this too, where we talk about email newsletters and building them to help you talk with your followers, but also share information. But your email newsletter, you can always send out an email newsletter. If you have an email newsletter, you can always send out a letter saying, hey, I'm looking for beta readers, or a call for beta readers, or something like that. And when you do that, then you'll get responses back. I've gotten quite a few beta readers from my email newsletter. So that's something you should check into. Another place to look for beta readers is here on YouTube, or your friends that you've met on other social media networks. But yeah, so if you, say, are in the AuthorTube community, and you've gotten to know some of the other writers out there, you can be like, hey, would you ever be interested in swapping, being beta readers for each other? Of course, you want to make sure it's someone you trust. Like, you don't want to, like, ask someone that you're going to, like, regret and think, oh, they're going to steal my story. You don't want that. That would not be fun. Also, if you're wanting to find some on Instagram, but you're not really sure where to look or where to find them, I would recommend, first of all, building out some friends on Instagram. And you can do this by searching the writer hashtags like am writing, or writing lifestyle, or writers on Instagram, or authors on Instagram, indie authors on Instagram, indie authors. There's a ton of them. You can look them up and stuff, but I'll share some of the different hashtags that I use down below, actually, on Instagram, and you can search those out and add people, get to be friends with them before you ask, because if you ask and you don't know the person, they're not going to want to. They're going to be like, who's this person? So make sure you go and research those hashtags, and then get to know the people, like their pictures, have comments, like leave comments on their page, and get to know them. Be their friend, and then they'll be your friend. And then you can be like, oh yeah, you know, down the road, a couple months after you guys have been talking, say, oh, hey, I just finished my manuscript. Would you ever be interested in beta reading it and giving me feedback? Doing that would be perfect. I think that's a great way. But you want to make sure you build that friendship up before you do the ask, because the person's not going to care if they don't know you. So that's a really good thing to keep in mind. Another place to look for beta readers is writing groups on Facebook, and also Fiverr. So Fiverr, you need to actually pay for that. So, I mean, if you can't find beta readers anywhere else, that's somewhere else to look. Because I know I have friends who have been beta readers on Fiverr. So that is something to look into if that's something you're interested in. And so now that you know where to find your beta readers, I would recommend having 10 beta readers to start off with, but then, you know, continue to grow it. You know, keep looking for more people to add to your list. Because, I mean, you want to down the road have a lot more than 10 beta readers. But these people will give you so much feedback, and it's going to be just wonderful information that they give to you and help you out with. And, you know, you'll create great friendships, and you'll be able to read their work too if they have something that they want you to read. That's just, I always love doing that too. I hope that you enjoyed this video about beta readers, where to find them, and why you need them. Be sure to watch out for the rest of the videos in this series I'm going to be doing on beta readers. The next one is going to actually be sharing a form of questions that you can ask your beta readers, just so that you can kind of get better feedback from them, so that you kind of know how the story is working and everything like that. So be sure to watch the next video in the series that I share, because I'm going to be talking about that. So that'll be super fun. And if you're interested in seeing videos like this in the future, be sure to hit the subscribe button and smash the like button so that other people can find this video as well. I hope that you have a lovely day, and I'll talk to you next time.